Yeah, definitely, because like especially being like an international student, I mean it's like a lot. Like just because like it's a percentage, it means like it's more for proportion for international fees.
Yeah, and how do your parents pay for your fees?
Yeah, my parents pay for the fees, so it's like for us, especially when you like the exchange rate and everything. So definitely, it's like more than like triple the cost.
Yeah, we don't like earn in dollars, right?
Yeah,
And yeah, it's kind of hard for our parents. And
yeah.
like 2.5% of 20,000, like $20,000 is a lot.
Okay, so how are you dealing with this?
Well, so we usually get jobs like on campus.
Okay.
We just look for jobs mostly and try and save money here and there.
You know, you feel bad like asking your parents for like, there's some things you want to do on campus no matter what. So you want to enjoy stuff, you want to go out with friends, and you feel bad asking your parents for money because they're already paying so much more than they would have if you had studied back home. But just because the education is not good back home, you have to come here, and you have to bear the cost. Like, I don't want to ask my parents, oh, I want extra money to go to Whistler or something, because I can't, because they're paying so much more now with the increase.
Okay, so at what point do you think you'll take action?
I don't know. I mean, like, how much can you do, Like, just one person, like, it has to be a higher authority that makes them change it, right?
Or for example, like you can join in some collective action. I'm sure like there are some students that feel the same way. Do you think there'll be a point for you to like join that?
As much as it's possible, you don't want to you don't want to, like, give too much effort into something that you know is not gonna likely happen, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, I would actually that they said that they adjusted it for the inflation and whatnot. Like because of the recession, the increase is actually lower than it's supposed to be. But I think it's just too much for us coming from abroad, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I would definitely like join, try and stop the increase. Maybe like join a group or whatever it takes.
Well, it hasn't really impacted my life because I've just recently been recruited and I'll be heading off for industry. I'm done with the academic world, so hopefully there's no more tuition fees in my future. But
do you have student loans to pay off?
I do, yeah, I do.
Do you think you could pay them off, or?
Yeah, I'm anticipating once I get started working, I'll be able to service my student loans and
So
pay
apart
off
from
the principal.
yourself, like, do you think other students might have a more
Yes.
serious problem?
Yeah, I do think it's an issue. I wish I followed it a little bit more in depth, but I know that student fees, as lofty as they are, student tuition, as high as it is at this point, I think the last thing students are looking for is an increase.
Yeah.
It was an expensive process the last 4 or 5 years of my life to get to where I am now, so I can appreciate that it's going to be just as hard, and if not harder, for students going forward.
Well, the courses are like so expensive that an extra $30 doesn't seem like a lot of money, I guess, in the long run. Because you're going from like $690 to $710 or $720. It's not huge.
Do you think there'll be a point?
Well, yeah, it's going to be a problem when it gets to the point where it's way too expensive for people to afford.
And would you take action at that point?
But probably not. But I'm sure somebody would. So.
There's been sit-ins, like, in California, like some students have had sit-ins in the administration office just because they were upset about increasing tuition fees, and they're seeing this all across North America. So, do you think there'll be a point where you would do the same?
I think the thing is in California it's a little different because a year of school there costs about 40 to 60,000 US a year, whereas I think for me a year of school is maybe not even 3 or 4,000. So I think if it does get to those levels where the government doesn't subsidize education, then there would definitely be a lot of action. But I think it'd be a little bit more difficult to get people to react when our education is much more reasonable than it is in the States and in some other places. But eventually it will get to a point where people are fed up about having to pay so much for school, I guess.
Well, I don't know what it decreased from last year, really. But I found that really my tuition stayed roughly the same as I paid the last term I was here.
So, I mean, has it affected you a lot? And how do you deal with that?
Financially, not so much, but I did take a year to save for my tuition this year. So, like, if it changed by a few hundred, not so much.
So if there were to be some more increase, would you take action or get involved with some?
Well, yeah, if there was more increase, then like what you had planned for before and put aside for your tuition, it's no longer going to do it, so you're going to have to scrape up an extra few $100 from.
So at what point would you get involved and take action, like do a sit-in or protest?
Well, I'd have to see where the tuition increases were coming from first, because I understand that, economies are changing and everything gets more expensive at the time. So it depends where that extra money is going. And if it's a couple $100 of funding that's never going to really benefit me while I'm at UBC, then I'd protest it. Like if they're using it to, build facilities that most students are never going to get to use, or develop programs that most students aren't really going to benefit from, then why are we paying for it?